Now, tonight's comic guest is a fresh newcomer and Raw Comedy State finalist. She's bringing her kooky brand of comedy right here to Live on Bowen tonight. So please make her very welcome, Beck Hagan.
G'day, guys. Hello. Thanks so much for having me here. Great to be here. You guys, I've recently learnt something that has just blown my tiny mind. Turns out all 4-year-olds are actually dickheads. Like, I didn't know. The reason I know this is through my job. By day, I work as a nurse, but by night, I'm also a bit of a dickhead. So that's kind of a bit of a takes one to know one situation. But the other day I was at work and I walked into a patient's room and standing in there was the most adorable looking 4-year-old I had ever seen. And he looked up at me with his big doe eyes and he tugged on my scrubs and he said, "Nurse, you are so beautiful." And obviously, I'm in full nurse mode, so I'm thinking, great. The kid's got perfect 20/20 vision, right? He can see what you can all see, right? Right? Then he looked up at me again and he tugged on my scrubs and he said, "Nurse, do you want to pretend to be brother and sister?" And I said, "Yes, darling, I would love to pretend to be brother and sister." But then something changed, right? The energy in the room kind of shifted and I swear to God, the little prick's eyes turned a funny shade of black because this time he looked up at me, put his hand on his hip and he said, "Well, actually, nurse, I'm just joking. I think that you're really ugly." What the F, right? As if anyone would ever even believe that we're related. What a dickhead, right? So obviously that isolated incident with that particular preschool-age child has tainted my view of 4-year-olds the world over, because that makes a lot of sense. You guys, as if getting sassed at work by a 4-year-old wasn't bad enough, as if I, as a human woman, have not suffered enough. You guys, I've recently broken up with my boyfriend, right? Oh, a bit sad, isn't it? Look, I know what you're thinking. A lot of people get into comedy to make people laugh and spread joy around the world. I've gotten into it because I actually have no one else to talk to, so that's really why I'm here. The reason we broke up, it's the oldest story in the book. I was getting so sick and tired of hearing about all my friends doing wonderful things. They're all getting engaged, they're getting married, they're having babies. And the only thing that I could ever bring to the table about my relationship was that my boyfriend of 8 months had started texting me back, right? That's as good as it ever got. So I had to cut him loose, but it's all right. I've dusted myself off, I've picked myself up, and I've done what every self-respecting single 20-something girl is doing at the moment. I applied to go on The Bachelor Australia. Just joking, they rejected my claim, so that sucks a bit. That's all right. No, I went on online dating, didn't I? I went on bloody online dating. And just a quick shout out to the men of the internet while I'm here. You creepy, creepy buggers. There are some freaks out there. I went on a date with a guy, 100% true, sat across from me, thought the date was going fine. Halfway through the date, he stops me. He says, "Beck, look, I'm having a great time. However, spent the weekend high on the drug ice, and I am coming down like a mofo." And then he just got up and left. And I never saw him again. So see you later, champ. Thanks for stopping by. Went on another date with a guy who I really liked. And I always know when I really like someone because I start planning our wedding on Pinterest. We'd only been on one date, but when you know, you know. The only problem with that, though, is that he found out that I was planning our date on Pinterest. But it's all right, you guys, because I never, ever have to worry now about securing a ticket to any Olympic event ever again, because I've never seen anyone run quite that fast. So it was actually quite the spectacle. Just before I go, I want to tell you about my grandma. I love my grandma. I'm obsessed with my grandma. As I've mentioned 8 million times already, I'm single. And my grandma's husband's a bit dead, right? So we're both these two single ladies, and we're both right in that point in our lives where we know we're probably most likely going to die alone. We're just right there together. So that's all right. But I don't know if you'd agree with me. I think sometimes grandparents, people of that age, can be a little bit mean, and if you'd agree. Perfect example of this. The other day, I walked into my grandma's room. She comes in, she goes, "Rebecca, I'm so excited, I'm so proud of myself." I said, "What, Gran? What have you done?" She said, "Darling, the other day, I saw you across the room and I thought to myself, my God, Rebecca's getting a bit fat." But I didn't want to say anything to your face because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. So, turns out my grandma, also a bit of a dickhead. I've been Beck Hagan. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks for going on that date with me. I really appreciate it.